We begin tonight with all eyes on the U.S.-Mexico border as Vice President Kamala Harris and her team prepare for their first trip to the border.
This is Governor Greg Abbott lashes out at what he calls the White House's failure to understand what exactly is happening down south. Details in tonight's top story. Vice President Harris is scheduled to arrive in the El Paso area sometime tomorrow. The visit comes as the vice president has faced months of attacks from Republicans and even some frustration from those in her own party for declining to visit the area. Harris has been tasked by President Biden with taking on the root causes of migration from Central America to the United States.
And that's just days ahead of Governor Greg Abbott and his plans to tour the border with former President Donald Trump. The governor and former president plan to tour the border together starting on June 30th. Governor Greg Abbott tonight responding to VP Harris's plans to come to the border later this week, saying, quote, Vice President Harris is ignoring the real problem areas along our southern border that are not protected by the border wall and are being overrun by the federal government's ill-thought-out open border policies, end quote. He goes on to say that she will fail in her mission if she refuses to speak to residents whose homes and ranches are overrun by those in gangs and smugglers. Again, the governor and former president's visit to the border is a week from today.
And tonight, our Michael Gibson has the details on how at least one property owner along the border plans on building their own border wall if Governor Abbott doesn't follow through on his promise to finish what Trump started.
Dr. Michael Vickers is a veterinarian here in Brooks County. He also runs the militia group he founded, known as the Texas Border Volunteers.
Well, the situation is escalating. People that have private property in the border area are just being overwhelmed with traffic coming across their property, cutting the fences, breaking into homes.
He says the same thing is happening here in Brooks County on his property and the property of neighboring ranchers. He says things are so bad here and along the border that one of his business clients with property there is ready to build his own wall if Governor Abbott doesn't get the job done.
The people that own the ranch are actually a large construction company, and they're going to build their own wall if the governor doesn't build it. Their situation right now is terrible. There's just huge groups coming across that property. I think they have about 9 or 10 miles of river frontage.
Meanwhile, Vickers and his militia group are planning to go out next week and patrol for signs of migrants on the north and south side of the Falfurrias checkpoint. When they spot a group of those folks heading through the brush, they say they then turn around and call authorities for them to take charge of the immigrants.
And the Border Patrol give us intel. They tell us where that traffic's coming through, and they like us to be out there. We kind of fill a void that they can't fill. We're out there on that private property watching those trails where they don't have the manpower to do so.
Also, other immigrants never make it out of the brush because of the brutal terrain and heat. A Brooks County Sheriff's deputy confirmed to 3 News that the department found 3 bodies Wednesday out in the brush, bringing the number of immigrants who've died making that dangerous trek across this unforgiving land to 45 people so far this year. Michael Gibson, 3 News.